What's up, people? It's your girl Adeola. Today I have some really good news and that makes me so excited. First of all, I'm sure that you've all heard of the two Nigerian female scientists who were recently honored by UNESCO. I'm talking about Professor Francisca Okeke and Dr. Ukeria Nwaichi. Professor Okeke lectures at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and she was honored for her research on ionosphere, the only woman selected in all of Africa among 4 women selected worldwide. Also, Dr. Ukeria Nwaichi is an environmental biochemist from the University of Port Harcourt. She joined 15 other young scientists in the International Fellows category. So I'm so proud of this woman. Yes! Go Nigeria, up Nigeria! But you know, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Because you know, Nigerians, we are very brilliant. Yes, we are very brilliant. I'm just saying, you know, not just in science, but also in acting, in singing, in everything. Don't be jealous, And that is despite the fact that many times we have to study with little or no convenience, you know, like electricity, for example. Yes, I remember studying with lantern, atupa, and candles. Later on, we had rechargeable lamps. That was like the best thing that happened at that time, you know. At night, the whole class would be packed. Sometimes we would even put our legs in water while we are studying. Put your leg in a bucket of water, just to keep us awake, you know. Man picking don't suffer, you don't take, And you know, unlike here, we are very afraid of our lecturers back home because we know that they can fail you anyhow. In fact, there are some Nigerian lecturers that would fail their students simply because they didn't buy handouts, you know, common handouts. So you have to study like crazy in Nigeria, drinking gari and nekpa because you don't have time to cook. And if you live off campus, double wahala for everybody. If you don't have a car, you are fighting to get in the bus, especially when there's no fuel. We have to trek for miles, you know, to get to school during fuel scarcity. And if you need to do anything on the internet, oh my god, you have to find a cafe. It's not like here where the whole campus will have wireless internet. No, you have to find a cafe. All I'm saying is that in Nigeria, most schools don't have the convenience that people enjoy in other countries, and yet we strive to do well. Although most of the times we just learn theory, you know. Practical is very minimal. I mean, you can study aeronautic engineering in Nigeria and never step in a plane, which is why many times when Nigerians travel abroad to study and they finally get to add the practical to the theory that they've been learning from Nigeria, we tend to do very well. So today you would find a lot of Nigerian doctors in several countries. Here in the US, there are so many Nigerian doctors, so many Nigerian nurses. A lot of Nigerians work on Wall Street. Here in New York, in top positions, you know, I can go on and on, you know, about the many great things that Nigerians are doing in the diaspora. The point I'm trying to make is that Nigerians are very brilliant when given the right opportunities. Now, I'm hoping that this women's breakthrough, you know, in the scientific world will challenge our leaders to invest in more scientific research programs, and not just the government, even the private sectors, because we have the brain. I know we have some research centers right now. Yes, we have the Institute of Medical Research in Yaba, Lagos, and we also have one in Abuja. But honestly, these research centers are so outdated. I looked at some of the websites, I was like, man, what is this? But not just that, we need to update our textbooks in Nigeria so we can compete at international levels, you know. By the way, I know a lot of Nigerian medical personnel that want to go back to Nigeria and work in Nigeria after studying abroad. But so many of them that went back that I know, I mean, they came back like within a month. They said, Adeola, we can't deal with not having the right equipment to and then the light goes off anyhow without any announcement. How do you work like that now? A lot of Nigerians who studied abroad would rather remain abroad where they can practice what they've learned. So if our private sectors and businesses can invest in funding research, just imagine how well we will do if only we can add practical to our theory. You get what I'm saying? We would be on the top when it comes to science in the whole world. People would be coming to Nigeria to do research, you know. Nigerians will be breaking grounds right in Nigeria. I mean, if our professors are also doing research, you know, like these women, that will make them busy, yes, and keep them out of the pocket of students. Stop telling people to buy handouts, yes, and it will stop them from running after young girls on campus, yes. I personally think that we should have some scientists in Nigeria whose main job should be to pay attention to natural disasters, you know, like flood, so that we can be prepared. It seems like these things like flood. It looks like they just happen in Nigeria. We don't even prepare for them because we don't know on time that they are about to happen. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I know there are people that are working there, but this thing is not, yes. So my people, as we celebrate these two women who have made us proud, let us think of how we can develop science in Nigeria as well. You know me, I'm just keeping it real. Another good news this week is that the president of Sudan, Omar al-Bashir, has announced that all political prisoners will be released. I was like, whoa, this is a pleasant surprise, you know? How awesome is that? In fact, they've started releasing the prisoners already. I was like, wow, this is great. And you know, despite the fact that I'm very happy about this, it looks to me like the government of Sudan is just addressing cosmetic issues instead of dealing with the real issues. First of all, the law that got these people arrested in the first place is still in practice. The law still remains. That means that if the government wants to rearrest these people that have been released, if they ever want to rearrest them, the law allows them to do so without any repercussion. So why didn't the government address the law that got them arrested in the first place? Second of all, the government is still preventing humanitarian assistance needed by 2 million people that are still displaced in the Nuba Mountains, in the Blue Nile, and in Darfur. Up till now, these people are not getting help because the government is not allowing them. By the way, do you know that the genocide in Darfur is still going on? And the government is still preventing humanitarian organizations from reaching the victims with what they need to survive. And also, the Sudanese government is yet to end the war from the Blue Nile in the far east to Darfur in the far west. Shouldn't you end the war going on in your country first and foremost and enable the political armed organization as well as the regions where the war is occurring to participate, you know, and be involved in government? Seriously? Isn't that what a good government is supposed to do? Do you guys know that only about 1 to 3% of the entire population of Sudan is ruling the whole country? Everywhere has been marginalized in Sudan and other political parties are not allowed. So this president has been ruling as an absolute authoritarian for the past 24 years. On top of that, the political detainees in Sudan are much more than those that the president has announced that he's going to release. He only announced that he will release those that are known to be in custody. My people, there are more than 600 prisoners in Sudan whose whereabouts are still unknown. I'm talking about more than 138 prisoners from the Blue Nile, more than 240 prisoners from the Nuba Mountains, and also many others from Darfur and other places in Sudan. What happens to those people? Because the president did not address all these issues. And lastly, you know, the president did not address restoring the freedom of the press in Sudan. I mean, we all know that some newspapers have been closed down, although I don't know why you're closing down newspaper in the age of internet. People can just get on the internet and, you know. We know that the think tanks and many cultural centers have closed down in Sudan. So if the media censorship continues, is Sudan really making progress? So that's why I say that it looks to me like this president is not addressing the real issues. Instead, he's just doing things that would make him look good to the international community. You know that he's wanted at the International Criminal Court? Yeah, so he's trying to look good now. And also, Sudan has a lot of debt and he's hoping to get some of their debts forgiven. I think that's why he's doing these cosmetic things and not addressing the real issues, not addressing the real problem, you know? That just reminds me of my favorite first lady in the whole world. Yes, Madam Patience Faka Jonathan. I mean, sorry, Dr. Permanent Secretary Patience Faka Jonathan. Yes. Did you guys hear that she sent 16 plane load of relief materials to Mali? Yes, 16 airplanes carried food items, clothing, drugs, beddings, and other essential relief materials from Nigeria to Mali because insurgents there are fighting the Malian government. Now, that's a good thing to do, of course, yeah. And if you're not from Nigeria, you will think that Nigerian First Lady must be so generous. Yeah, so generous. But even though what she did to help Mali was right, I couldn't help but wonder about the thousands of people that have been killed by Boko Haram and gunmen in Nigeria, and the thousands that have been injured without receiving any relief item. So many people have been disabled, so many have been crippled by bomb explosions in Nigeria. In fact, many of those who died as a result of bomb explosion in Nigeria, many of them died several days after the bomb explosion due to lack of adequate medical facilities. I mean, just look at some of these people, you know. Many of them would have survived if only they received good emergency treatment as soon as it happened. So why didn't she send them relief materials materials in the same country. Why didn't she send them relief materials? And why didn't she go to Borno and donate relief materials? Maybe her husband was in Borno recently. Did he take any relief material with him? No. Why didn't she build those good hospitals, you know, for these people to be treated? And since they can't afford to go to Germany like she does, yes. In fact, forget about bomb victims, you know. What about the victims of flood? Let's just look at the one that happened last year. Do you know that in Kogi State, the government gave the victims 3,000 naira as compensation for flood? Can you imagine 3,000? Of course, the people rejected it. They were like, what do we do with 3,000 naira? How can you give your own people 3,000 naira? And you fly 16 planes to another country filled with relief materials. Isn't that an effort to look good on the outside when you are not doing well on the inside? No, seriously, that's hypocrisy. And you guys know that by not building us good hospitals, they themselves have no choice than to travel abroad for medical treatment. In fact, I heard that Madame is back to the hospital, although the presidency has again denied it, saying that she's just going for medical checkup. I said, so they can't do common checkup in Nigeria? Like, seriously? All the doctors in Nigeria, none of them knows to do checkup? Seriously? I don't buy that. Oh, I forgot that it is the one that cut you up that can check you up. Yes. Very soon we will have another Thanksgiving service. By God's grace, amen. I'm not just saying that she should build us a good hospital. My people, I'm saying it because I know that she could if she really wants to, her and her husband. She's planning on building a center for African first ladies with 4 billion naira. And talk about misplaced priority. All I know is charity begins from home. Yeah, so back to what I was saying. If Sudan's president really wants to make a change, then he needs to address the humanitarian and human rights situations in his country. He needs to end the war and usher the Sudanese people, political parties and civil societies on equal footing. And you know what? The guy needs to step down. Seriously, he needs to open the road to democratic transformation in Sudan. I mean, 24 years is too long for one man to be in power. I mean, just look at the new president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. He just announced that power will be decentralized in Kenya, and he's cooperating with the International Criminal Court to clear his name from the accusations of the ICC. So to me, that's a really good example, but what do I know? You know, I'm just keeping it real. So last Sunday, during Easter celebration, Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan decided to visit a church in Lagos. And while he was giving his speech, unfortunately, the power went off.
His message is straight.
For me today, the only message I have for you are
and promises of restructuring until the lights went out.
You know, I said to myself, how can these people do like this now? How can they take up the light while the president was talking? I said that is not correct. That is not correct.
That is not correct. That is not correct.
That is not correct. I mean, how can NEPA do that? But you know, it's not a big deal. As you can see, Mr. President himself is like smiling, you know. In case you didn't hear what he said, he said, with the power outage that the officials of Power Holding Company of Nigeria are trying to tell him something. He said they know I'm here. That's why they took lights. At least to remind me that I must not sleep until we stabilize power. And then he said, God willing, next year they will not take light. Amen, amen. Although I don't know why those people were cheering and laughing. This is a serious issue. They take light anyhow in Nigeria. I mean, you can be operating a patient and they take off the light. When would we stop laughing about issues like this and actually call it what it is? I mean, the same guy said last year that by this year, June, that we will all give him our generators. Don't you still use your generator? This is April. So the fact that he said, oh, by this time next year, they won't take power. I don't buy that until I see him actually do something. So I read some of the comments that people wrote about this incident, and one of the comments really got my attention. This person said that his name is Implosion. He said that, like they're used to doing, GED, which is Mr. President, quickly shifted the blame on the power holding company officials when between 1984 and 1999 the government did not invest in the power sector and the decay continued. And then he said that during this 15-year lacuna, that is how you know it is a Nigerian that wrote the comments, during this 15-year lacuna, the population increased and economic activities intensified. And instead of situating the problem at the doorstep of past and present leaders, they all deflect the same. So honestly, by now, power shouldn't be our problem at all. Power shouldn't be our problem anymore. That's like the first thing that we ought to fix if really we want to progress in Nigeria. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So I've seen people do a lot of crazy stuff. I've seen somebody design a casket in a way that whoever is in the casket can keep Facebooking even after they're dead. But my people, I have never seen anything like this. I'm talking about a 22-year-old lady in China who decided to organize her own funeral. She organized her own funeral. She said she wants to know how people would react when she dies. I'm not kidding. This woman went all out. She spent thousands of dollars. She bought a very nice casket. She hired cameramen, people that decorated her funeral service. The whole place was packed. You know what surprised me? Her people showed up to this fake funeral. I was like, no, 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 no. I trust African parents. They'll say, my daughter. Why are you thinking about dying now? What exactly is going on? Is this a mommy water spirit? Are they calling you? Abiku at the age of 22? In fact, African parents will organize a deliverance service for this child. But you know, I can't blame this lady. She has to have a lot of money if this is what you will be thinking about at the age of 22. Anyway, so after laying in casket for an hour and listening to everybody talk about how much they miss her and how much they like her, you know, she got up, you know, to give her own speech and all that. You know, she needs to realize that tears are very expensive. How can you cry over somebody twice in a lifetime? Until you are dead, you're not dead. So I'm just keeping it real. Before I leave today, I like to read some of your emails. This one is from Joseph Ezeana. Greetings to you, Adeola. A Nigerian guy has been killed in Malaysia and our so-called ambassador moved to Singapore to hide himself. A lot of things have been going on in this country, but the government and the Nigerian embassy doesn't care. They tell you to go to Nigeria and that nothing could be done. Well, Joseph, thank you for writing me. Like I said in my last episode, a lot of Nigerian embassies still have a lot to work on. I heard that some of them are getting better, like the one in Belgium. But a lot of Nigerian embassies abroad still have a lot to work on, and I'm hoping that the more we talk about it, eventually they will pay attention to our cries and actually change things. So can't tell you to do what the Nigerians in Senegal did. You know, you do whatever you have to do to get their attention. I'm so sorry about the death of the Nigerian guy. It's very sad indeed. The second email is from Peter Owulabi. He says, hi Adeola, do you know that most Nigerians don't have internet access and this makes it difficult for them to get your message on corruption? Can I burn these episodes on DVD and give it out to people free of charge? Definitely, Peter, please be my guest. Do whatever you need to do to get the word out there. I really appreciate when I hear that people are sharing it on their Facebook pages or through their emails or Twitter pages. I really appreciate when people spread the word around about keeping it real. And I'm really hoping that we won't do all this in vain, but that eventually we will see the changes that we're all hoping to see in African countries. And in case you are not able to watch the video at once because the internet is very slow where you are, you can download it. Like at night, the internet is usually faster in Nigeria, so you can download the episode and then watch it later on your computer. Our third email is from Joe Moses. He says, hi baby, I love your show. I'm just wondering if you're single. Seriously, that's his question? Joe Moses, no, I'm not single. Thank you. I think that's enough email for today. Thank you. Before I leave today, I want you guys to see a little bit of Sao Tome and Principe. Alright, y'all, it's been real, and I'm keeping it real right up in here. Until next week, I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace out.